A Super Bowl MVP. You could pick the Super Bowl MVP. Now, as far as I know, I didn't oversleep, right? We still have 2 games before there's a Super Bowl. Right, Harry? How does this work? But you could still pick an MVP for the game that 106 of these players are not going to be involved in? I don't ask any questions. Whatever. Let's just do it. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes. It's stupid. It's simple. It's basic. But you get the Chiefs for plus 120 now to win the Super Bowl, right. I believe. And you get Mahomes for plus 170. And of course, Tyreek Hill can win. And of course, Travis Kelce can win and some of these other guys. But it doesn't usually happen. 9 out of the last 12 Super Bowl MVP winners were quarterbacks, including Mahomes 2 years ago when they beat the 49ers. And I just see it like Kelce and Hill will split votes, right? McCole Hardman will split votes if he has a big game. It's not going to happen with the quarterback. It's the easiest way to do it. Look to the quarterback. Now, I know you're not making a mint off of this at plus 170. And you guys have a little more interesting ways around this. Harry, we'll start with you. Deebo Samuel, huh?
Yeah, H-Dog is on Deebo at 16-1. Look, out of the 4 teams left, guys, only team is San Francisco that wouldn't probably get the MVP from the quarterback position. Jimmy G, this postseason, 0 touchdown passes, 2 picks. His last 4 playoff games, 1 touchdown, 4 picks. If Cincy gets in the Super Bowl, Deebo could beat them running and receiving. Cincinnati 18th in total yards against and 26th versus the pass. Meanwhile, Kansas City, this could be a field day for Deebo if it's the Chiefs. Chiefs are 27th in total yards against and 27th versus the pass, 21st versus the rush. And like I said, Deebo, 1,800 yards this season. He's had 8 rushing touchdowns, 6 receiving touchdowns, led San Francisco, obviously, in touchdowns. And also, you never know in Super Bowl. So we love the prop of will a third person throw the ball? He has a passing touchdown for 24 yards this year, too. Capable of doing that, too. So if San Francisco can beat the Rams and get to the Super Bowl, beat San Francisco for the 7th time straight against L.A., Deebo is your guy if it's San Francisco.
All right. I don't hate that. I will say this. I remember when the 49ers had a 10-point lead over the Chiefs in the 4th quarter, no one really knew who the MVP, right? It wasn't like Jimmy G was. Oh, right. They were thinking it could have been Bosa's name was floated, right? I'm trying to remember.
Probably Bosa.
It was probably Bosa, right? So, all right. So that would have been a year
where Kittle didn't do anything that game.
Right. All right. Parlay Kid, you kind of have to do this. You kind of have to. You've been talking about this for like 2 months. It's got to win some award. Yeah.
Cooper Kupp MVP here, Sal, 10-1 for the Super Bowl. I think right now, again, I'm guessing, right, because we've talked about this before, that the votes for the regular season are all in, I'm guessing,
I think so.
MVP, right? Because I think if they weren't, I think we would see people going over to Kupp right now, realizing that maybe taking their vote away from Rodgers. But, Rodgers obviously performed well in the regular season and didn't perform well in the postseason. But Kupp, I think people are that game the other day. I think people really took notice when you perform like that on a big stage. People know what he's capable. To me, I'll say, every time I get a chance to that, he was the MVP of the league this year, and I do think his numbers every week are outstanding, especially if they're if they get through San Fran and are playing either Cincy or the Chiefs. There's a lot of holes there, maybe on that defensive side, which we've seen from both teams in the secondaries, which Kupp can greatly exploit. He could certainly have a 10-catch, 150-yard plus game with a touchdown or 2 in that Super Bowl. MVP at 10-1. Let's roll with Cooper Kupp. I love it. I think he would deservingly have to get that, I think.
Well, here's what I would do. If you think the Rams are going to win, they'd have to win for him to get it. I think put a little bit on Stafford at 3-1, maybe. So you're not pounding the pillow at night when he goes for 191 and 3 touchdowns and 2 of them were for Kupp, and Kupp had like a 30-yard reverse run and everything, but they still give it to Stafford. Right. So yeah, maybe that's a way around it. Bri, I don't know what the hell you're doing here.
I don't know. It's really bad.
By the way, it went up since you Cam Akers. You had it at 40. It's 50 to 1 now.
I was just looking. I was looking for some good value here. So again, I think Mahomes, what you're looking at, I mean, you're getting like 40% more, right? If you just bet Mahomes versus the Chiefs, which probably makes sense because the thing is, if the Chiefs during the Super Bowl, if they win this week, if they're like minus 180 or minus 160. It's weird. Like usually around the Super Bowl time, like those MVP odds like match the game odds. So like if it's minus 160 Chiefs, like Mahomes probably like minus 150. So you're probably getting much better value to take that now. So I do like that. So when I was looking at teams that I thought offered the most value, I thought the Rams actually have the most amount of guys, right, that could really have dominant performances. So you could go Donald. I think he was like 23 to 1. You could even go like a guy like Beckham if you wanted to. But I was just looking at Akers, and I know a running back hasn't gotten it in like 24 years or whatever it is since it's like Terrell Davis, which is nuts. But I don't know. I know Akers really almost gave the Bucs that game, but McVay stuck with them because, between his explosiveness and ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, I think it's going to keep him in there. And I think if the Rams do play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I could see McVay just being like, we got to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. We're going to play as much ball control as we can, even though we have an explosive offense. All right. And the Chiefs struggled. The Chiefs were still one of the worst teams against the run this season. They gave up 4.8 yards per carry. I know that got a little bit better, but they still gave up a good amount of yards, whether it's the quarterback or not. So, a guy like Akers, I could see there's, sneaking in, getting over 100 yards and like 2 touchdowns in that game and potentially getting it. So if you're looking at 46 or 50 to 1 odds, I kind of like it.
The only thing is Sony Michel can be trusted in the big game, right? He's been there before, so he might get 3 or 4 or 5 more carries.
No, he could,
he normally would.
3 years ago, Michel was the only one who scored the touchdown.
That's the one, right? Yeah. I don't know, Bri. To me, the only way Cam Akers would have won MVP of the Super Bowl is if the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl. So he's the reason.
Well, yeah, no, I know it's a crazy story.
I kind of like your Akers call. I mean, he's going to stick with him. I kind of like it.
It's only basing this off current statistics. I mean, I said, I'll probably end up putting a ton of money on Mahomes anyway for this, but
right.
To give somebody out over 40 to 1 when looking across the board, he was the one that kind of stuck out. And again, Odell 60 to 1. I mean, could he have a 3 touchdown
Those are
game?
big numbers.
A reverse?
Potentially.